record over here. Give me 1 second while we get, there we go. It should be up online. So welcome everybody. Can everybody see the presentation? Let's see.
You can put this.
Is it on share? Oh wait, actually, did I click share? Let me just make sure.
Oh, maybe not.
Share. Click this first, and then I'll go here. And then we'll go.
I know.
Oh my God.
All right, that should do it. All
There
right,
we go.
everybody should be able to see the presentation now. Is that right?
Yeah, we're good here.
All right, perfect. So good morning, everybody. Today we're going to be going over, the opportunities here at the University of Arizona, specifically in mining and geological engineering. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we have several panelists from the U of A, including Dr. Kemeny, Victor Tenorio, with the Mining Engineering Department. We have Ria Goen with graduate admissions. That's going to cover the application process for graduate school specifically. Also Humberto Fierro Laredo, who is with the enrollment counselor at the UA Global International Admissions, specifically covering undergraduate admissions to the program for those of you that are interested in going to the undergraduate program here. And then Dr. Nadia Alvarez, who's going to be talking about with UA Global, more of the transition from Mexican university, the differences in cultures and higher education here in the United States compared to over there. And then over there on the other line, we have Dr. Rafael Sabroy Garcia, who is with COECYT, who's going to talk about the COECYT Scholarships available for specifically Sonoran students, which are you, to get scholarships to be able to come and have that funding. And so that's going to be our lineup. And so the way we're going to have those presentations, and after each presenter, you're welcome, if you have any questions throughout the presentation, go ahead and write them in on the chat. Everybody should be able to have chat. Write the questions as you go, if you think of them in the moment. But also after the presentation we can unmute your mics and we can have everybody take turns asking questions for everybody here. So that's kind of how it's going to go. So with that said, we're going to turn it over to Dr. Kemeny.
Hi. Well, very nice to have a discussion with all of you. We're very excited. We're very interested in hopefully having some of you to join our program, our graduate programs in Mining and Geological Engineering. My name is John Kemeny. I'm a professor in the department. I've been in the department about 31 years. I was department head for the last 5 years. I just transitioned out of being department head, so we have a new department head starting last week. But feel free. I'm gonna mention a few people you can contact in our department, but certainly you can contact me. You can contact Victor. And there'll be some other people I'll mention as well, and of course Mario as well. So yeah, let's go to the next slide. So just a little bit about our department. The University of Arizona is about 130 years old, and the mining program is about the same. So we were one of the first two programs at the University of Arizona. We have a building on campus called Old Main, and that was the original building that had the mining department. Today, the University of Arizona is a very thriving university, world-class university, and mining is still very important. So we it's still recognized across the campus how important mining is at our university. We have about 60 undergrad students. We have about 85 graduate students. We have about 15 faculty and lecturers. We have a lot of different programs. We have a Bachelor of Science in Mining Engineering. It's got 4 tracks. We have a mine operations track, a geomechanics track, a sustainable development track, and a mineral processing track. We also have our traditional graduate degrees, which are Master of Science, PhD. We have a Master of Engineering, which I'll talk about. We have certificate programs, which are, maybe.
Hello, Juan. If you could please just mute your microphone while we go through the presentation, and then you could ask questions right after the presenters.
It's good.
Okay.
Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
And we have some special degrees. We have online. I'll talk a little bit later about the online degrees that we have, and we're very excited about that and possibilities of getting some Mexican students to take our online Master of Engineering. We also have some executive programs, professional development programs for companies. Our department is probably one of the best at the University of Arizona in terms of giving scholarships. We have a lot of scholarships and fee waivers and other ways that we can attract students to our program. We have very good, our students get jobs, almost 100% placement of our students when they graduate, both undergraduate and graduate. So I think we have a very successful program. We have a mine. This is very exciting. I think Victor might talk a little bit about the mine. We have a mine. It's basically was one of the biggest operating mines, 50 years ago in southern Arizona. But today, part of it was donated to the University of Arizona. It's a 90-acre facility. We have 3 underground levels. We have a working shaft and a hoist. And so we're really very unique in terms of the mining programs in the U.S. to have such a facility. This facility is fantastic. Our students go there and engage and learn how to different kind of skills. It's also outreach for the community, either K-12 schools and also the companies. The companies can give us equipment and we can demonstrate that equipment in our mine. So the mine is a very exciting place. I think Victor will talk a little bit more about that later. I just want to mention how great a location we are at in Tucson, Arizona. We have basically our mining engineering program is part of the University of Arizona, and we're in Tucson, Arizona. Tucson is becoming one of the world-class high-tech mining hub. We have big companies like Caterpillar and CONACYT that just autonomous trucks.
Hola Sergio, buenos días. Si puedes hacer el micrófono, por favor. Sergio, can you hear me?
Hey, hello. Hi, this is
Hi. Welcome. That's great. Great to have you. Could you please mute your microphone?
Si lo puedes poner en silencio,
En
Rafael,
silencio,
por
yeah.
favor.
Okay, no problem.
All right. Thank you. All right. Continue.
So we have this picture as a picture of an autonomous truck from CONACYT, and the proving ground is right there and near Tucson. We also have Caterpillar doing the same thing. We have Hexagon. It's one of the big mining high-tech companies producing the mine design software and also modern instrumentation like LiDAR scanners and slope radar. Then we have the University of Arizona. The University of Arizona has got a new president, and we're committed to the 4th Industrial Revolution. So we fit in very well. The whole university is really advancing in artificial intelligence and big data and machine learning and all those kind of things. And we also have Arizona, the state of Arizona. We have some of the largest mines in the world in the state of Arizona. So our students have the ability to go right to work in some of these mines. And so overall, again, fantastic location that we have in Tucson, Arizona. And I want to say it's not just the location and our people, but we also, the way we teach, we're trying to be very, very modern, very progressive. This is our modern classroom that we have, a very collaborative classroom. So, we don't teach the way we used to teach. We basically, a lot of times we put our lectures and you can watch those at home. And then when you come to class, you can interact in doing class activities. So we do that. We have online education. So we're very big. We have a lot of students in our online Master of Engineering, and we're very interested in collaborating with international campuses such as yourselves. So, we're very innovative when it comes to education as well as our curriculum. This is our faculty. So again, we have about 15 faculty, and this faculty is very diverse. So we have all the way from geology at one end, and we have geomechanics, we have mine design, mineral processing, and sustainable resource development. So we covered the whole the whole field of mining and all from A to Z, I guess. We also have different kinds of professors. You know, the traditional faculty member is what we call the tenure track faculty member, doing research and teaching, and that's great. But we also have what's called professor of practice. This is Victor Tenera. He's a professor of practice, and the difference is that the professor of practice has had a career in the mining industry, coming back to really give us some really different kind of feel than you get from the other faculty. So we have a mixture of faculty, and we interact very well with all our students. And even our online students, we interact with them. We encourage them to come to our field trips. We even pay them money for our online students to come to our field trips. So we try to be very different in the way we educate. This is some staff. This is important for you to know. The first person there is Sherry Raskin. She's our program manager. And if you have questions about our graduate program, she's probably the first one that you should go to. You can always talk to me, or you can talk to the new department head, Momo Mayas, but you can also talk to Sherry. The next two have to do with our geomechanics. We have a really good geomechanics lab, and David Streeter runs that. Then our Essex mine is run by James Werner. And at the bottom, we have the crew from the Institute of Mineral Resources. We have Mario, of course. We have Chris, who does outreach as well. And then we have Jody, who's the program manager for that. So these are all people that you might be interested in contacting.
Salle, si pueden poner en silencio, por favor, su micrófono. Gracias.
There we go.
Muchas gracias.
So I just wanted to take a second. This is really probably my last slide. I just want to talk about the different kinds of graduate education. I assume that all of you could be interested in some kind of graduate education, and we have many different kinds. So I want to talk just briefly about our traditional graduate degrees. This is the Master of Science and the PhD. And the idea of a Master of Science, both of them are what we call our research degrees. You work very close with an advisor. In the Master of Science, you produce a thesis. In the PhD, you produce a dissertation. These are basically, they can be done online, but normally they're done on campus. You work very closely. You're either doing experiments or doing field work. You're putting all together. It takes several years. And that's our traditional graduate degrees. We also have a Master of Engineering. The idea of the Master of Engineering is very flexible. It's for people that are working at the same time they want to get a degree. And so it's basically coursework only. It takes 1 to 3 years, depending on how many courses you take. Some of our online students take one course, some take 2 or 3 courses. It kind of depends. We also have certificates, which are kind of small versions of the Master of Engineering. So instead of 30 units for the Master of Engineering, it's only 15 credits for the certificates, or even 12 credits. And all our courses can be taken online. So for any of those degrees, you can always take the courses online, and that allows a lot of flexibility. And again, depending on if you're doing a research degree or just a coursework only degree, it depends on where you might be. And we also have many options between online and on campus, and I won't get into that too much right now, but for instance, we have the option potentially that you could stay in Mexico, take your first year of the master's online, and then you could come to the U of A for the second year, spend 12 months and finish the master's here. So we call that a 1+1. So we have options like that. We have options where it's fully online, you could stay in Mexico, or the other option where you come to the United States and stay in Tucson, Arizona the whole time. So we have many different options. We have many different kinds of scholarships and tuition waivers and other things. And I think some of the other people will talk a little bit about that. So that's kind of all I had really to say. I hope you have some questions that you have, and I'm happy to answer them, or you can email me or email the other people that we listed. So yeah.
All righty. So now we're going to pass on to, here's the contact information for John Kemeny. You can email him right there with any questions, but we'll open it up to questions in a bit. But first, we're going to go ahead and continue the presentation with the department, the Mining Engineering Department, with Victor Tenorio.
Hello, everybody. I'm very, very happy to be here and to be in contact with all of you. My my role here will be trying to explain the career mining engineering and from the perspective of the graduate studies. So basically, even though all of you might be mining engineers, we are open to other careers, to students from other careers that would like to also get involved into mining engineering and learn about mining and be able to work in the mining industry. So it's like an opportunity to increase their strength in using their own education with a knowledge on mining that allow them to access to different work opportunities. The mining engineering itself is one of the most important activities that humankind has, and basically is the extraction in a safe, environmentally sound and efficient and economic way of extraction of the natural resources of the earth. Many of the things that an engineer does, you may know this as if you have the career of an engineer, is reviewed and also enhanced in the grad studies. Not only from all the steps from exploration to feasibility, mine design, planning and production, scheduling, operations, and mineral processing, and including mine closure, land restoration, and rehabilitation, but seeing this from a broader perspective, and at the same time using new modern tools like using what is called now the digital mine, in where we are going to use, according to the fourth industrial revolution, all the technologies that are available, all the platforms, all the ways of collecting data and doing analytics and improving every step of the entire production process. So good things, and you may know now, everybody is interested in going to where no other person has gone before, and we have mines in different parts of the world, like Indonesia, Mongolia, the Andes, and also people from here are interested in going and reaching mines in Mexico, South America, many other places in the world, Africa. There are several operations, and there's more and more to explore. We are just starting with a little bit of the Earth's crust, and we are looking at not only now on the Earth, but we'll see later underwater, and in the future, in the not so distant future, the moon and asteroids, Mars and beyond. So these are some of the careers that any person involved in the mining engineering discipline can reach. Like, for example, managing the mine, planning and design, being also independent consultants working for different mines that are require the services, manage these operations from the inside or outside as a kind of a consultant. Doing research, if you're interested in research and would like to go into the Master of Science and PhD, there's also opportunities, and many more that depending on the market, on the demands, depending on the commodities also that are available in a particular area or country. There's, for example, in this time, there's more attention to rare earths. That's something that didn't happen a few years ago. And this demands first understanding the rare earth market, the process for extraction, how they are coming with other types of materials, and what are their industrial applications, things that are important to know and to discover while you are studying. Well, the University of Arizona has all of it included, and here, just for a starter, we'll show that our students are exposed, not only undergraduate, but graduate students are exposed to different activities. The drilling competition this year, I think is the second year that we have graduate students that are doing their teams. And this year the competition is in Colorado, but next year is going to be in Australia. I think that's a big incentive. So our students take a break from their studies and go all the way to represent the university, doing the 5 basic activities of a mining engineer, which is basically drilling, rock breaking, loading a mine car, and many other similar activities. Then also the student club, the SME Society of Mineral Metallurgy and Exploration, is a huge worldwide society that gathers all the not only students but professionals. So students are exposed and in direct contact with professionals all the time. In a monthly dinner in Tucson, on a yearly meeting that is going to be this year, this February, in a couple of weeks in Phoenix. So we're lucky to have that. Sometimes it's in Denver, Salt Lake City, and other cities of all the continent. So it's an important opportunity to present also works, progress in research and education, technology, see new equipment, and more. So we're proud to have San Javier as our laboratory, as John mentioned, and there's many things to do. Some of the news I can share with you is that San Javier is going to become a digital mine, and we have now sensors that are collected and observed in a display at the mine, but soon this is going to be connected to the campus, so we will see from campus what's going on, and we are intending to not only observe data but also teleoperate equipment from a distance, which is will be a big revolution in the mining operations for us. As you will see, all the work that is done is for real. So students learn to use actual equipment, and they're supervised at different levels, not only for our own supervisors, but also to make this mine live and operating. And more important thing is that the mine is going to be expanded soon. We're going to have a decline that is an engineering challenge, and all the sections of the mine are going to grow in a bigger section, so we have to continue doing this without compromising the safety and support. This is a final view of our rescue team. All of our female students were in a time in full charge of the safety operations, and even rehearsing emergency rescues and testing the equipment and everything, all with the proper safety gear and the proper training as well. So this is it for all of you. Those who would like to study with us will be proud to have you, and also to teach you some of these things and discover together the new things that are ahead for us.
All righty, thank you so much. So we can go ahead and if there are any questions specifically for the Mining and Engineering department, this would be a good time to ask. If not, we'll also have time at the end of the presentation to ask questions. But are there any questions so far? Anybody can unmute the microphone and ask questions if you'd like. Yeah, and I'll check the chat if anybody has put questions. Let's see. But it doesn't. Last time I checked, there weren't any. Okay. All right, well, if you do think of questions, feel free to put them on the chat, and also we'll have more time later in the presentation. But now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the graduate application process with Ria. And I can go ahead and pass you the mouse. You can click on the side and everything.
Well, I don't know where I'm going with this. Because I didn't submit any slides. I was just gonna
Just
go to the.
To the
Yeah,
website?
I'll
Yeah.
just talk, but I could go to the website too.
Yeah, for sure.
I
think-
don't want to mess up the.
No, give it a try, and if we see that it's not working, then we.
click.
But go ahead and click. Wait,
See.
actually.
Oh,
You're gonna have to drive over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll briefly.
I don't want to mess it up.
So, okay. And so we can go ahead and click on the link,
There we go.
and then I'll share it once it's up.
Mhm.
All right.
Ta-da.
Yeah.
All right, that should do it.
There we go.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm not the technology expert. So glad to have the opportunity to talk to you today. And I will dive right into the actual kind of admissions process. My name is Rhea Gowan. I've worked with Graduate College for almost 30 years. So I've seen it evolve into a lot of different ways of applications, but right now everything is electronic as the makes it a lot easier for everybody to apply. We have a lot of information on our website, and so I just thought I would just show you a little bit about the Grad College. Mostly since we're talking about engineering today, we have a list of programs, and so on our website we have search programs, and this is a good place for you to be able to go and look back on and let's see, can you type in MGE right there? There we go. All right, so you can go ahead and pull up the programs that you're looking for, and it'll give you information about what their requirements are, information about the program, and links, and also they've mentioned about the contact people. So Sherry Raskin is a graduate program coordinator that I work with, and she's a great contact for you to be able to ask questions. It's always nice for you to establish contact with the department. If you have questions, they are perfect people to talk to. Admissions requirements. So the Graduate Admissions Office is looking for 3 major requirements for application, and that would be a 4-year bachelor's degree from from your institution in Mexico. We would need to have a GPA. We convert the GPA if it's not on a 4-point scale. We need a GPA of 3.0 or higher. And we are also looking for English proficiency from international students. So most likely that's a TOEFL score, but there are other methods that you can provide English proficiency. And we're looking for a 79 or higher on the TOEFL. But if you take an IELTS test, or if you complete a test that our Center for English as a Second Language offers, you can also meet those requirements. Departments will also ask for letters of recommendation, personal statement, and a resume, and all of this information is uploaded into our application electronically. So the department is also looking for GRE scores. Graduate College doesn't require those, but you would work with the department to have those submitted. Application deadlines are listed here in this program description guide, so you'll know when you need to get your applications in. It's generally quite a bit earlier than the actual program starts, right? So we've got classes starting in August, but deadlines are going to be listed here. There's also going to be completion requirements and what types of units and things are needed from your department. So this is a great place to go to review what your department offers. So if we go back, there's an Office of Graduate Admissions listed here, and the minimum admission requirements are here. What happens is when you complete your application, the information that you've uploaded will be viewable to the department, and the department really is the one that's going to make the decision on your application. So they will send their recommendation to the Graduate College, and we perform all the final reviews. So the admission requirements are listed here, international applicants, I mentioned about the English proficiency. So there's the different types of proficiency that would be required. We have we do have some exemptions. So if you have received a degree from an English speaking institution, then you can also, you can have that English requirement waived. That's speaking scores. So if you do receive an assistantship from the department, we do have some requirements as far as what scores you have to be able to teach. Financial guarantee requirements are, there is a amount of financial guarantee that would need to be provided if you are going to be coming on campus, but our graduate admissions office works with you on that to provide I-20s. And if you do receive any type of funding from the department, that does get deducted from the amount of funding that you would need to show. So the application is found in Apply Now. So Apply Now, and this is where you will create an account, and you make a password, and this is where you create a profile. And I'm not going to log in here, but you create a profile, and you are going to need a PDF copy of your transcripts and your diploma or your degree certificate. And you will need to have those in English also. So many times the schools will provide those in English, but if they don't, you will have to have those in both languages. And then you're going to answer, start answering questions that the department has specifically set for their program. So they've been able to customize their application to look for specific mining related information. So once that's done, it gets sent to us and we process from there. So I think that's a super quick rundown of kind of the application process. So you may think of some questions later. Feel free to go ahead and send those. My information, how do I go back to slides? Is it this one?
No, go to the PowerPoint.
There we go.
Right there.
There we go. All right.
Let's see.
Oops. Is it?
Yeah, I'll put it back.
Yeah. No.
Back up. I guess you gotta go through Zoom. Where'd it go? Oh no, it's right here. I think they are saying that.
Mm-hmm. There we go.
Oh yeah.
I think I pretty much done that. But yeah, so our website that we just went through here, the Apply Now, and then if you have any questions, you can feel free to email me, or you can email Grad Admissions, and give us a call. We'd be happy to help you with your applications. So I'm happy to answer any questions also if you think of any along the way.
Yeah, so are there any questions right now for Ria? Yeah.
¿Tienen alguna pregunta? Si tienen alguna pregunta, abran el micrófono, por favor. I don't think there's a question.
Okay.
So yeah, they're free to ask you in Spanish and you can translate.
Sí, también me dice acá el profesor que pueden preguntar en español y nosotros podemos traducir si hay una pregunta específica a nuestros compañeros. ¿Ninguna pregunta por el momento?
They'll think of them later.
Ajá, okay. Yeah.
All right, so then we're going to go ahead and get started with our next presentation by Humberto, who's going to talk about the undergraduate process. If you want, you just need the clicker, right?
Yes. So how do I switch the slides?
Switch the slides to what? Or just click on the button.
On the button?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like a clicker.
Okay. Hello. Buenos dias. My name is Humberto Fierro, and I am the current enrollment counselor for Latin America and Mexico here at the University of Arizona. A little bit of information about myself. I am originally from the beautiful city of Hermosillo. Have now been in Tucson for about 8-9 years, perhaps. And yeah, I'm currently here at the University of Arizona working in international admissions. And not to take too much of you guys' time, I'm just going to be going over the application process, but as far as the undergraduate side of things. So if you guys perhaps are interested in transferring to the University of Arizona, or you guys might know someone that is currently studying at high school and they're thinking about coming to the US to realize their studies, then I'd be more than happy to assist them. But again, this is me. My contact information is right here. My email address is definitely the best way to reach me at. I've also got WhatsApp, and we've also got a Facebook page and a Instagram. And finally, our website where you can find all of the application requirements. So moving on. Again, just the title card, University of Arizona. So the application in and of itself is very straightforward. We basically have 3 requirements, and the first of these being obviously the application itself, which can be done completely online. A common misconception that we get from Mexican students is whether or not they actually have to be in person to submit their application to X or Y college. The answer is no. Is that everything can be done online through the portal. So again, the first of these is the application. So it's going to ask for basic information as far as like the name, the age, the declaration of study, etc. Then we have the application fee, which is submitted along with the application. Number 3, we have the transcripts. So for an undergraduate degree, if we are talking about someone that is coming in straight from high school, and they are looking at engineering, for example, they will need to submit 3 years of high school transcripts. That being said, if it comes, let's say that the student is studying their last year of high school and they only have 2 transcripts, 2 years worth of transcripts, then they would need to submit 1 year of middle school in order for that transcript requirement to be satisfied. And then for what we consider full admissions, so just the regular students, it's these 2 requirements and also proof of English proficiency. We'll talk a little bit more about this later on, but basically it's what Ria mentioned as far as the grad side. We do require to see a score from one of the acceptable methods by the University of Arizona, just showing that the student can actually dominate English to a well enough degree to actually converse in the language, understand everything that's going on in the classroom, et cetera, et cetera. Amongst these, we have the TOEFL IBT, the IELTS, the CEPT exam, the SAT, ACT, et cetera. And also a common question that we get is whether or not SAT or ACT, that should actually say SAT or ACT, my apologies. But a common question that we get is whether or not these scores are required. And the answer is no. We don't require the SAT or the ACT for admission purposes. That being said, we do offer a scholarship to international students where if they want to qualify for the highest amount of that scholarship, which is $35,000 per academic year, then they do need to submit an SAT score. And then based on that combination of the GPA and the SAT score, then that's how the department determines how much money the student is eligible for. Again, if you have any questions regarding any of these, please feel free to shoot me a message or maybe wait till the end of the presentation just to ask anything regarding the scholarship or maybe admissions process. But moving on. Going on with the admission guidelines for freshmen, so that's students that are coming straight from high school, we typically require a 3.0 GPA for the majority of majors. That being said, for what we consider the competitive majors, we do require a 3.5 GPA. This is especially considering engineering, for example. Engineering does require a 3.5 GPA. They make no exceptions regarding this. And also no excessive A board deficiencies. What they mean by this is the Arizona Board of Regents requirements as far as the coursework that the student has. And there's a little graph right here at the bottom of this slide. Basically means that they need to see certain credit hours for each one of these subject areas. So for example, we require 4 years of the native language, which in this case would be Spanish, 4 years of math, 3 years of lab sciences, 2 years of social sciences, 2 years of second language, and 1 year of fine arts. In the case of Mexico though, this would actually be 3 years of native language, Spanish again, 3 years of math, 2 years of lab sciences, and so on and so forth. The university can be flexible with these requirements as long as the deficiencies aren't excessive. And going back to the area of proof of English proficiency, The most common methods that we observe and that we do accept here at the university are, once again, the TOEFL. So the TOEFL for the majority of majors, you need a 70. For engineering in particular, you need a 79. The IELTS, again, 6.5 for engineering. PTE, that's the Pearson exam, that's 53. The SAT, the reading and writing section, that's a 580, sorry. The ACT, we require 29. The CEPT exam, which we just started accepting for undergraduate this year, is 100 for the majority of major, 110 for engineering, and CESL endorsement, and so on and so forth. So all of the acceptable methods can be viewed on the website. Now, for students that are currently studying at the university level, a common question that we get a lot is whether or not they can transfer to the university, and the answer is yes. And the application is pretty much the same as if they were coming in straight from high school. So for transfer students for non-competitive majors, they have to be under 22 years of age, 24 or more transferable credits at their current university, the ABOR requirements, and then typically a 2.5 GPA and above. If the student is over 22 years of age, they must have completed 24 transferable credits from their current university, and once again, a 2.5 GPA or above. And again, the English proficiency, that is still a requirement unless they were studying at a US university, but if someone is coming from Mexico, from Unison, for example, then they would still be required to submit proof of English proficiency. Again, they can submit the TOEFL, the IELTS, the CEPT, and so on and so forth. Some of the other questions that we typically get as far as the high school transcripts or the college transcripts. So at the time of application, we can take these submitted in PDF format, just as long as they're legible. And on the website, we do have a requirement that they need to be translated, but we typically do this in a very informal fashion. So if you have your original transcripts and they're in Spanish, if you can just write over, provide maybe a translation of each one of the course names, and then we can have someone on staff that actually speaks the language, just verify whether or not this is 100% correct, then we can also accept that. So there's no need to go to a third party to get the documents translated. Once again, with proof of English proficiency, there's several options: the TOEFL, the CEPT, the SAT, ACT, etc. And again, the majors with the higher English proof of English proficiency are business, engineering, nursing, and law. And just lastly, one of the questions that we get a lot as well is whether or not someone living in the state of Arizona qualifies for in-state tuition. And the answer is typically no. So what they mean by in-state tuition is basically someone that is currently a resident of the state of Arizona, so that they actually have a green card. And this is something that is done at the government level, so it's not something that the University of Arizona typically handles. Although we do, whenever we get questions about residency, maybe in-state tuition, which is more than half of what it would cost to pay out of state, we typically refer students to the registrar's office, and they do have staff available that can answer any questions regarding residency for tuition purposes, and just clarify any doubts that you guys may or may not have. And that's pretty much it on the undergraduate side. Again, my name is Humberto. If you guys have any questions, regarding, any bachelor's degrees or the application process, or maybe you guys know someone, have a family member that is currently on their last year of high school and they're interested in coming over here, you're more than welcome to get in contact with me, and I'd be more than happy to help you. También hablo español, entonces si se llega a ofrecer, pues los atendemos en su idioma, porque aquí en la universidad hablamos su idioma. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, appreciate it. So now we're gonna be, are there any questions for Humberto? You can go ahead and unmute your microphones if you do have questions. But if not, we will continue with the presentation, and Nadia will cover some information on the educational and cultural side of things for transitioning to the university.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna switch to Spanish just
Yeah,
to
go
be
for it.
like the translation of all the terms that you already hear. Lo que voy a hacer es que voy a hablar en español para poderles traducir algunos de los términos que han escuchado y que probablemente en nuestro sistema de educación en México pues no son familiarizados, no estamos familiarizados. Mi nombre es Nadia Álvarez Mejía, soy la directora de programas con México. También soy facultad afiliada en el Colegio de Educación y la Universidad de Arizona en el 2018 fue reconocida como una institución de servicio a la comunidad hispana y soy parte del programa de lo que le llaman aquí los fellows, que vendrían siendo gente que trabajamos en la universidad, profesores o administrativos que fuimos seleccionados para estar en este programa. Ustedes habrán escuchado muchos términos que en nuestro sistema de educación superior no los tenemos familiarizados, entonces nada más me gustaría conceptualizarlos para que no se pierdan en estas excelentes presentaciones que les han dado mis compañeros. Cuando ustedes escuchen el término GPA, se refiere al promedio general, es lo que conocemos nosotros como el promedio general. El GRE o el GMAT son los exámenes de admisión. Cada facultad o cada colegio o cada departamento va a tener un examen en particular y ese va a ser el examen de admisión. Entonces, generalmente para ingeniería se utiliza el GRE y para las áreas de negocios el GMAT. Es un examen muy parecido a los que utilizan la mayoría de nuestras universidades en México. Específicamente es un examen muy parecido al que aplica el TEC de Monterrey. Entonces, si por ahí ustedes pueden conseguir alguna guía, se dan cuenta que es un examen, el GRA, donde te van a evaluar tus habilidades de las matemáticas y tus habilidades orales, escritas y de comprensión, pero en este caso obviamente va a ser en el idioma inglés. El transcript es lo que nosotros conocemos en México como el CARDEX o como la boleta de todas las calificaciones y las materias que has cursado. Aquí la escala de calificaciones no es numérica, sin embargo, dentro del colegio de posgrados tenemos las equivalencias, así que no se preocupen porque las calificaciones se traduzcan del sistema numérico en México al que utilizamos aquí, que es alfabético. Lo importante es que se haga una traducción del español al inglés. Entonces, el programa de doctorado en esta universidad, al ser una universidad enfocada a la investigación, tenemos el nivel 1, que vendría siendo equivalente al nivel 3 en México, que es el Sistema Nacional de Investigación a través del COECYT o del CONACYT. Es decir, que somos una universidad top de investigación, generamos muchísimos millones de dólares para hacer investigación y en los proyectos de investigación. Entonces, los programas de doctorado son muy intensivos. Mínimo vas a estar cursando 5 años tu doctorado. ¿Por qué? Porque hay una preparación muy intensa para realmente ser un investigador. Aquí la relación profesor-estudiante en términos de asesor, quién te va a asesorar durante tu doctorado principalmente, es muy importante. Entonces, yo los invito a que entren a la página, en este caso, del Departamento de Minas. Ustedes van a ver a todos los profesores, van a ver también información de ellos, de sus líneas de investigación, y que ustedes empiecen a visualizar quién pudiera ser un posible asesor. Ustedes los pueden contactar, pueden mostrar el interés que tienen de venir a hacer un posgrado aquí con nosotros y probablemente el profesor te responda y puedan tener una charla, ya sea presencial por la cercanía que hay del estado de Sonora con Arizona o tal vez a través de una videoconferencia. Yo les recomiendo que también empiecen a familiarizarse con la cultura de este país en cuestión de cómo se prepara un currículum o un resumen. Es muy diferente a como lo hacemos en México. En México generalmente ponemos nuestra fotografía, ponemos información desde nuestros estudios de nivel primaria. En Estados Unidos no se utiliza la fotografía, solo ponemos estudios de nivel de educación superior, es decir, tu licenciatura en este caso. Entonces también váyanse familiarizando con cómo es la cultura al poner estos documentos, porque muchas veces nos preocupamos más por el inglés que ver también que no solo es dominar el segundo idioma, sino cómo preparar estos documentos. A veces los procesos de admisiones te van a pedir tener entrevistas, te van a pedir un ensayo, que eso no se utiliza en México, que es el Statement of Purpose. Entonces también váyanse familiarizando con esos documentos, de qué se tratan, busquen en internet ejemplos, platiquen con compañeros que a lo mejor ustedes conocen o simplemente pregúntenle a la persona con la que tengan el contacto en la universidad, en este caso aquí en la Universidad de Arizona. Como les digo, la cuestión del TOEFL es importante, demostrar que tenemos un dominio del idioma inglés, pero muchas veces el proceso de admisión va más allá de ese requisito. Tenemos que poner otros documentos que muchas veces no nos enseñan en México a cómo prepararlos. Aquí se vale hacer preguntas. En nuestro sistema de educación en México generalmente no nos enseñan a hacer preguntas. Nos vamos mucho hacia la autoridad. Aquí tú puedes hacer preguntas a los compañeros que se han presentado, al profesor que vayas a contactar. Organiza un plan de cómo vas a solicitar la admisión aquí en la universidad, cómo vas a alinear ese proceso de admisión con COECYT o con CONACYT. Investiga un poco más como cuál es el rol del asesor que vas a tener en el doctorado, y hay que ser muy proactivos. El proceso de admisión en una universidad estadounidense como la U of A puede llevarse de 6 meses hasta 1 año. Es natural y es normal, sobre todo si vas a aplicar a una beca, vas a solicitar una beca de CONACYT. Entonces, esas serían mis recomendaciones. No sé si tengan alguna pregunta por el momento. Si la tienen, abran sus micrófonos, si no, nos esperamos hasta el final. Okay, so there's no question.
Yeah, so now we're going to move on to the COECYT Scholarship presented by Rafael, who is in Unison. So let's see if we can get Rafael to unmute your microphone. You could share that. And then, you know, since I have the master slide, you can just let me know when you want me to click, and we'll continue like that.
Okay, thank you. I think I will speak in Spanish if you guys...
Perfecto.
Okay, muy bien. Bueno, me presento rápidamente. Mi nombre es Rafael Sabri García. Tengo un doctorado, lo estudié aquí en la Universidad de Sonora. Estoy como jefe de vinculación en el COECYT, que viene siendo el Consejo Estatal de Ciencia y Tecnología. Y también estudié una maestría en la Universidad de Arizona. Estudié ahí en el Departamento de Ingeniería Eléctrica y Computación y fui becario CONACYT también. Entonces, ahora pues les voy a platicar un poquito de cómo es el proceso, ¿no? de la aplicación para la beca de CONACYT. Ya vimos cómo es el proceso de aplicación para la universidad y ahora pues los dineros, ¿no? Como le dicen. Next one, please.
The money.
Money. Ok, entonces el COECYT en conjunto con el CONACYT, que es el Consejo Nacional de Ciencia y Tecnología, tienen un programa, next one please, de becas de posgrado de calidad al extranjero. Muchas veces cuando se enteran que hay una beca COECYT y una beca CONACYT empiezan las dudas, ¿no? ¿Cuál es la diferencia entre una CONACYT y una COECYT? Realmente no hay mucha diferencia. Las pequeñas diferencias que podemos decir es que ahora las que va a manejar el COECYT son regionales. Regional que abarca, pues vienen siendo las 2 bajas, Sonora y Sinaloa. En cambio, unas becas CONACYT son a nivel federal. Hasta antes no había tanta diferencia. Ahora, si van a aplicar a un doctorado, tienen la opción ustedes de aplicar o a una beca federal o a una beca regional. Si van a aplicar a una maestría, forzosamente tienen que aplicar a una beca regional, ¿no? Que sería con nosotros ahí en el COECYT. Next one, please. Thank you. Bueno, entonces este es un convenio que tiene el CONACYT con el COECYT y con los consejos estatales. El CONACYT le va a dar cierto número de becas a la región o al estado y estas se van a competir dentro de nuestro estado, sería aquí en Sonora, ¿no? Esa vendría siendo otra diferencia importante. Si ustedes van a aplicar un doctorado, en lugar de competir contra todo México, estarían compitiendo contra 4 estados nada más, ¿no? Entonces eso aumenta la probabilidad de que ustedes salgan beneficiarios de una beca. Next one, please. Okay. Bueno, en las convocatorias regionales están divididas por sectores estratégicos, que vienen siendo los sectores de los estados que se les está dando mayor impulso económico y de desarrollo tecnológico. Otra diferencia, bueno, ya van saliendo algunas, ¿no? Otra diferencia es si ustedes, creo que no va a aplicar a su caso, si ustedes quisieran aplicar a Derecho, Sociología, cuestiones así, tendrían que irse a la federal, ¿no? Porque en el estado no entran esos, no son sectores estratégicos. Para Sonora vendrían siendo las que vienen ahí, bueno, a ver si se notan un poquito, ¿no? Vendrían siendo exactas y naturales, ingeniería, geología, minería, agropecuarias, electrónica, mecánica, son alrededor de 16. Entonces, ustedes que están en el área de minería y geología también, sí, ¿no? Bueno, ok, en minería entra perfectamente, ¿no? Ya ven que en Sonora tiene muy fuerte la cuestión de minería, entonces es uno de los sectores que están muy fuertes apoyados aquí en el sector Sonora, ¿no? Bueno, entonces los objetivos de la beca pues es ofrecer un apoyo para que ustedes se puedan ir a estudiar un posgrado de calidad al extranjero. Tiene que ser tiempo completo, ahorita vamos a platicar un poquito de todas las características, ¿no? Entonces, como mencionamos ahorita, puede ser maestría o puede ser doctorado. Next one, please. Next one. Thank you. Ok, entonces ahí continúan nada más los sectores estratégicos por si conocen ustedes alguna otra persona que esté interesada, que le puedan platicar que sí entra, ¿no? Entonces ahí está geociencias y minería, lo cual platicamos ahorita que está perfectamente y pues la Universidad de Arizona es una universidad de calidad, ¿no? A nivel internacional, entonces podrían entrar ustedes perfectamente con una beca CONACYT. Next one, please. Thank you. Ahora vamos a platicar un poquito de qué es lo que les van a pedir, ¿no? El primer requisito sería que se registren en la página de CONACYT. Aquí no está difícil, ustedes van a crear su link, bueno, su usuario y van a meter su contraseña y después van a poder acceder al sistema. Van a tener que empezar a llenar su CBU, que es Curriculum Vitae Unique. Aquí el detalle es que es un poco tardado, ¿no? Esta cuestión. ¿Por qué? Porque si ¿dónde estudiaste? Universidad de Sonora. No pueden escribir, tienen que darle clic, buscar Sonora, Universidad de Sonora, el programa, etcétera, etcétera. Si tienen experiencia profesional, es el mismo caso. Entonces, muchas veces no viene la empresa en la que trabajaron, hay que mandar un correo, solicitar que la pongan para que ustedes puedan darle clic y entrar, ¿no? No es difícil, sin embargo, es un poquito tardado este proceso. Les van a pedir una vez que sea convocatoria, que por cierto ya está abierta, ahorita vamos a platicar un poquito de eso, es el formato de solicitud, entonces van a empezar a llenar ahí, ¿no? ¿Qué programa van a ir? ¿Cuánto tiempo va a durar? Maestría, doctorado, etcétera, etcétera. Porque, bueno, no dice exactamente eso, ¿no? Pero dice por qué me merezco la beca, la justificación, etcétera, etcétera, ¿no? Entre las características o requisitos que les van a pedir es un resumen de experiencia profesional, literal es un resumen, aquí no hay tanto problema, ¿no? Al final de cuentas es ir juntando puntos. CONACYT entiende perfectamente que muchas veces ustedes terminan la licenciatura e inmediatamente se brincan a la maestría, ¿no? Entonces, si no tienen experiencia profesional, no se preocupen, no hay problema, ¿no? Traten ahí de poner nada más, si hicieron prácticas, pues meter un poquito como en qué les benefició esa parte, ¿no? Hay muchas personas que hacen servicio comunitario, igual no es obligatorio, si lo ponen, pues es puntitos, ¿no? Lo que sí es muy importante es la carta de la universidad en donde pretenden estudiar. Esta no debe tener ningún requisito académico, ¿no? Por ejemplo, ha sido aceptado siempre y cuando le suba 2 puntitos al TOEFL. En cuanto conocéis de eso, si sabes que no estás cumpliendo con los requerimientos. Hay 2 características o 2... ¿cómo se dice? Requisitos o condiciones que sí se puede aceptar. Uno es que diga, está aceptado siempre y cuando muestre sustentabilidad económica. Ahí no va a haber problema. ¿Por qué? Porque si se sacan la beca, el CONACYT les va a dar la carta donde les van a dar la sustentabilidad económica. Y otra es el caso que les diga, ha sido aceptado siempre y cuando muestre su visa. Entonces, para ustedes solicitar la visa estudiante, les van a pedir la carta que el CONACYT les daría si son beneficiarios con la beca, ¿no? Aquí en el caso de la Universidad de Arizona hemos tenido varios casos que sale la carta y viene está condicionada siempre y cuando entregue los documentos en físico. Entonces nosotros al estar aquí en Hermosillo, una ventaja es que se arrancan un viernes, entregan y les ponen un sello, ya no tienen ninguna condición, ¿no? Inmediatamente vienen y suben esa carta y ya no hay ningún problema con esto, ¿no? Next one, please. Thank you. Okay, entonces les van a pedir información del programa. ¿Qué viene siendo esto? ¿Cuánto va a durar? Maestría, doctorado, materias que van a llevar, si van a estar trabajando en investigación, en qué van a estar trabajando, etcétera. ¿Cuántas materias por semestre? Muchas veces el programa ya está definido, nada más hay que subirlo, o muchas veces ustedes se ponen de acuerdo, fue en mi caso, sí, no se ponen de acuerdo con su asesor, con el que van a estar trabajando, y entre ustedes hacen como un programa, ¿no? Y eso es lo que van a subir. En su caso, como es minería y geología, etcétera, etcétera, no va a haber ningún problema. Las materias que lleven, pues obviamente van a estar dentro de este programa, ¿no? Si conocen a alguien que anda por ahí medio entre sí, entre que no entra, piden que cubra el 60% del programa, debe caer dentro de un área prioritaria, ¿no? Okay. Les van a pedir en qué idioma se va a dar el programa. Pues como este es Estados Unidos, ya va entendido que va a ser en inglés, ¿no? Si se van a ir a un doctorado, ya deben de tener ustedes un anteproyecto con su asesor. Este debe estar firmado tanto por ustedes como por su asesor también, ¿no? Les van a pedir 3 cartas de recomendación. Estas pueden ser en inglés o en español, no hay ningún problema. Ahí mismo viene su formato, tanto para español o para inglés. ¿Okay? Les van a pedir el TOEFL. Ese sí es súper importante, ¿no? Dependiendo, hay diferentes formatos. Está el IBT, el IELTS, está el paper-based, etcétera. Entonces, dependiendo cuál vayan a escoger, deben de cubrir el puntaje, ¿no? Para el paper-based, que es el de las bolitas, les piden 550 puntos, y para el IBT anda en 79, más o menos, puntos, ¿no? Aquí el TOEFL debe estar vigente, y recuerden que el TOEFL tiene una vigencia de 2 años, ¿no? ¿Ok? Bueno, entonces les van a pedir el título o el acta de examen profesional. Aquí sí hay varias alternativas, ¿no? Uno si se titularon o si se van a titular por tesis. Al momento que ustedes defendieron su tesis y la pasaron, les firman un acta. Esa ya puede funcionar, ¿no? Ya la suben, que viene siendo el acta de examen profesional. Mucha gente se confunde y cree que el acta de examen profesional es el del Ceneval. Ese no es, ¿no? Tiene que ser en tesis firmada. Otra, pues si ya tienen el título, lo suben inmediatamente, o si ustedes están en trámite y llega el momento del cierre de convocatoria, pueden subir una carta de aquí de la universidad o de su universidad, donde diga que ya está en trámite y que llega tal día, ¿no? Entonces esa también funciona, porque pues el título, el trámite del título llega a tardarse algo, ¿no? Un poco de tiempo. Calificaciones oficiales, lo que vendría siendo el CARDEX con un promedio mínimo de 80, y carta del apoyo del sector interesado. Entonces, en esta parte puede ser una universidad o una empresa donde diga que los está apoyando a ustedes para que se vayan a estudiar el posgrado, ¿no? ¿Sí? Y finalmente, uno de los requisitos más importantes, que viene siendo carta de incorporación al Estado. Esta es otra justificación, pero hacia el Estado. ¿Cómo yo voy a aplicar todo lo que aprendí, tanto cultural, económico, académico, etcétera, etcétera, una vez que regrese a Sonora, para impulsarlo tanto en desarrollo tecnológico, económico, académico, etcétera? Ustedes ahí van a justificar esa parte, ¿no? Next one, please. Thank you. Y ya vienen las cuestiones administrativas, ¿no? Les van a pedir identificación oficial, que esté vigente, la CURP, si están casados. Les van a pedir acta de matrimonio, si tienen hijos menores de 18 años, acta de nacimiento de los niños. Y si ustedes ya fueron becarios CONACYT, una carta de reconocimiento o de no adeudo, ¿no? Que ustedes están todo bien con el CONACYT. Un requisito por ahí que creo que no venía, que se me pasó, les están pidiendo ahora la e-firma, que viene siendo la del SAT, ¿no? Esa también, si van a aplicar, hay que sacar la cita con tiempo, porque creo que sí se toma un poco de días, ¿no? Para sacar la cita. Next one, please. Thank you. Ok, ahora sí, ¿no? Lo interesante. ¿Cuánto nos va a dar el CONACYT, ¿no? Si salimos beneficiarios. Se va a dar pago, bueno, un monto de colegiatura. Este va a ser hasta 300,000 pesos de colegiatura anual. Ahorita vamos a platicar unos detalles de eso, ¿no? Obviamente este dinero se lo deposita el CONACYT directamente a la universidad, porque no sabemos qué podría pasar si se lo depositan al estudiante, ¿no? Yo creo que ya no lo volvemos a ver, y luego en otro país, pues quién sabe, ¿no? Bueno, les van a dar manutención mensual. Estas sí se las van a depositar ustedes, dependiendo la región o su estado civil va a cambiar. En Estados Unidos son $1,100 de manutención mensual para solteros, y este sí se los depositan ustedes y ustedes los van a utilizar como lo necesiten, ¿no? Y cada año les van a dar $715 para seguro médico. Okay. Next one, please. Okay, ahí está la tablita, ¿no? Entonces, casados en Estados Unidos subiría a $1,375, ¿no? Aquí, pues ya depende, ¿no? Me ha tocado a veces que dicen, ven los $275 más, y dicen, pues mejor me voy casado, ¿no? Pues ya cada quien, no creo que les convenga, bueno, ya cada quien, ¿no? Pero bueno, entonces, sí, ahí CONACYT es súper puntual en esto, ¿no? Depositan dentro de los 5 días, les van a caer ese dinero y ya, como platicábamos ahorita, pues lo usan para lo que necesitan, ¿no? En la cuestión de la colegiatura, ahí son 300,000 pesos, hasta 300,000 pesos de colegiatura anual. En Estados Unidos, especialmente en la Universidad de Arizona, anda alrededor aproximadamente, ¿no? Y ahí, si ando un poquito mal, por favor, me corrigen. El semestre anda alrededor de $14,000 para estudiantes internacionales. ¿Cuántos son 300,000 pesos? Más o menos en dólares. Como $15,000, ¿no? Entonces ahí, debido a que tendríamos esa cuestión, estamos trabajando en conjunto con la Comisión Sonora Arizona y la SEC para lanzar una convocatoria, se le dice complementaria, beca complementaria megaregión. Entonces, aplican ustedes a la beca regional y aplican a la beca complementaria megaregión. Lo que va a pasar es que si ustedes se sacan la CONACYT, van a pasar como a una segunda fase. Y si se sacan la megaregión, ustedes, ahorita les platicaban por ahí, ustedes van a entrar al beneficio de pago. El beneficio de pago se les va a cobrar como si ustedes fueran residentes del estado de Arizona. ¿Qué significa esto? Que les van a cobrar alrededor de $7,000 por semestre, ¿no? Más o menos. De tuition. Ajá. Entonces ya los 300,000 pesos de colegiatura anual les va a alcanzar para cubrir su año de maestría, ¿no? Eso es para la maestría. Entonces estamos trabajando con eso. La convocatoria de megaregión se estará lanzando próximamente, ¿no? También. Next one, please. Ok. Entonces aquí están mis datos. Yo estoy ahí en el centro de gobierno, donde se sacan tercer nivel, edificio Sonora Sur, tercer nivel, dentro de la Secretaría de Economía, donde se sacan las actas de nacimiento, en esa parte, pero hasta arriba, ¿no? En el tercer piso. Ahí está mi número, mi extensión y mi correo también, ¿no? Como les platicaba ahorita, la convocatoria está abierta, se abrió la semana pasada y se estará cerrando el 8 de mayo, ¿no? La idea es que cualquier duda que tengan, que vayan viendo, revisando, se comuniquen ahí conmigo para ir revisando todo muy bien, ¿no? En la cuestión de revisión, pues sería más cuestión de administrativo, ¿no? Que no les falte la firma, que vaya bien el documento, cuestiones así, ¿no? No sé si tengan alguna duda sobre el proceso. ¿No? ¿Todo bien? En UES, La Salle.
Aquí no es todo, estamos bien, no hay preguntas.
Yeah, so he's open to
Aquí
questions.
también estamos bien. Gracias.
All right.
Ok.
Bueno, muchas gracias, Rafael. Entonces vamos a hablar sobre los siguientes el proceso. O sea, fue mucha información la que dimos, ¿verdad? Sobre los programas, pero esperamos que eso pueda ayudarles un poco para responder sus preguntas, ¿verdad? Entonces, los siguientes pasos para ustedes serían los siguientes, y nadie va a explicar cuáles van a ser para que sepan más o menos cómo va a funcionar el proceso si ustedes deciden ir a la universidad. Entonces, Rafael, ¿puedes también ahorita poner en silencio tu micrófono, por favor? Gracias.
Sí.
Ok, gracias.
Ok, gracias. Bueno, para resumir la información que dimos esta mañana, los siguientes pasos sería, pues, primero, solicitar la admisión a la Universidad de Arizona. Entonces, ahí tienen el contacto del Grad College, que sería la facultad donde están concentrados, donde está concentrado este proceso de admisión. Una vez que termines este proceso de admisión, Bueno, también junto con este proceso de admisión, obviamente si vas a venirte al departamento de Minas y Geología, pues Mario puede ser el contacto principal en esa área. Y a su vez, para seguir tu proceso de COECYT, aunque no lo puedes concluir, como bien dijo Rafael, hasta que no estés admitido en la U of A, pero sí puedes empezar a subir los documentos porque es un proceso en línea, pues tu contacto ahí directo va a ser Rafael, que está él en la oficina de Sonora. Una vez que estés oficialmente admitido en la universidad, terminaste tu proceso de postulación de COECYT, CONACYT, y entonces te notifica CONACYT, COECYT que fuiste beneficiado con la beca. Nuestra recomendación es que notifiques al Colegio de Posgrados, a Rafael y a Mario, que ya recibiste esa beca. Porque el siguiente paso será que el Colegio de Posgrados va a preparar los documentos que tú vas a poder utilizar para solicitar y tramitar tu visa de estudiante. Generalmente los estudiantes internacionales se preocupan más por tramitar la visa, y la visa no se puede tramitar si no estás admitido en una universidad y si no tienes dinero, que en este caso sería tu beca, que compruebe que tú puedes mantenerte y puedes pagar tus estudios en Estados Unidos. Y entonces con este resumen de pasos, pues te felicitaríamos todos porque ya estarías oficialmente en la Universidad de Arizona con una beca de COECYT, CONACYT, para poder hacer tu posgrado. Entonces, este es el resumen de todos los pasos y de la información que les compartimos esta mañana. Si tienen preguntas, podemos abrir a preguntas. We can open to questions. La podemos hacer en inglés, la podemos hacer en español y podemos nosotros apoyarles con traducciones. ¿Alguna pregunta, duda que tengan?
We have a question here.
Okay.
This is Sergio Moreno, a professor from Unison, from Mining Engineering. Do you have a estimate of the cost of living, including tuition, fees, everything per semester for a graduate student?
There's a website. There's a website when you can look for that information. But I will say that is a very good question, because if you see the money stipend that CONACYT provide for CONACYT scholars, it's $1,000 when you're single. And that amount is going to be if you are going to California or if you are coming to Tucson. And Tucson compared to California, it's less expensive. So the question it's a really good question. And if you go to the University of Arizona website and you just search for information about cost living here for a grad student, you can find that information.
Okay, thank you.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? Any other question?
¿Dudas, preguntas?
No, pues si no hay ninguna otra pregunta o duda, if there's no any other question or comment, ahí están los contactos de nosotros. Con mucho gusto, quien se quiera comunicar, esta es la idea, ¿no? La idea es haberles presentado esta información, pero sobre todo que ustedes nos conozcan y que sepan con quién se pueden dirigir, para qué tema en específico, y con todo gusto nosotros podemos asesorarlos en el proceso. So the idea of this webinar is not only to share information, but also that they met us and they know that there's people willing to mentor them through the application process and also through the CONACYT scholarship process.
Sí, pues con eso ya concluimos el webinar. Si tienen cualquier otras preguntas, ya saben, nos pueden contactar, ahí está nuestra información. Sí le voy a pedir una cosa a todos los profesores en cada clase, si nos pueden hacer el favor de escribir el nombre de los estudiantes que asistieron al programa y nomás una lista de estudiantes para saber cuántos estudiantes participaron en este webinar. También lo que vamos a hacer es grabamos este webinar, entonces si la información fue mucha o se les olvidó, les vamos a mandar, una vez que ya me manden esa lista de estudiantes, voy a mandar un enlace para que ustedes puedan ver, tengan acceso a este webinar otra vez y lo puedan ver si algo no les quedó claro y tienen alguna duda.
Sí, por favor, en la lista que dice Mario, incluyan su correo electrónico.
Correcto.
Para que les puedan mandar esa liga del webinar y pues muchísimas gracias por su atención.
Bueno, muchas gracias.
Muy amable,
Muchas gracias.
Thank you.
Hasta luego.
Hasta
Gracias.
luego.
Hasta luego.
So we had 4 different institutions in Sonora, so that was good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see, I'm gonna stop the video. Oh, no, not the video, all right.
There we go. Stop share. If you stop share, then if you end meeting, it'll stop.
Yeah,
the
stop
video.
the
Okay.
can just-
How do I make sure that it's saved in the right place?
I think once you stop recording, it saves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, I think that's what, and then it should